Are you ready to talk about ugly female video game characters?
Um, is there such a thing, or because to
Yeah.
me, I feel like a lot of hard work went into these characters, regardless of subjective, superficial, aesthetic ideas of beauty. So in a way, they're all beautiful because they represent the work and passion of some, game designer, right?
Wrong!
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's
Wrong!
look at some uggos. Let's do it.
Yeah, listen, alright, today we're talking about ugly female video game characters because this is apparently what every gamer wants to talk about these days. But there's a lot of focus now that one of the main problems of video games in general is ugly characters, that they are uglifying women in video games. And oftentimes there's like this West versus Japan and Asia, or at least like Japan and now it's the South Korea because of Stellar Blade. They understand beauty, but the West is losing beauty because of wokeness. That's
Yeah.
at least like the big argument. However, so I've brought today a video by our good friend The Critical Drinker on his newest channel, The Critical Gamer.
Oh, wow, wow. Who would have guessed that?
Yeah, a very, very original name. So just to take a look at his thumbnail, so the video is called Why Modern Gaming Sucks, which is a take on his other series on his main channel, the whole Why Modern Movies Suck. Or this video, he's talking about ugly characters everywhere, and he's talking about the newest female character from the newest Star Wars Outlaws game, K-Vess, who I don't know if you've seen, Dane.
Yeah, I've got some images over here we could look at if you want.
Yeah, because she is the definition of ugly.
Yeah, she's
Right?
just, I mean...
I don't think we're ready for this, but all right, give it to us. Give it to us.
Okay.
Oh, fuck! Oh, Jesus! Oh, you should have warned me.
Holy shit, what's wrong with her? Like,
Damn.
is her eyes supposed to be doing that? Or, no, like, clearly this is like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this character model. I mean, I don't know if this is like the one that's in the gameplay or whatever, how different it is, but
I mean, this is obviously like a photo, and that's one thing I've seen that people are saying, oh, they made her ugly between when they first revealed the game and then the newest trailer that just came out. But it's like a lot of video games do this, where the first time they show off the game, it's like very rendered and it's like in engine and it's not in game footage. But then like when they actually show more actual gameplay, it doesn't look as good, including the characters, and that's just bound to happen. That's not them purposely uglifying the woman just to
no, but that makes
be
more
woke or
sense
whatever.
to their insecure little minds.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is probably what you're talking about. This is probably more like the character in the game, right?
Yeah, but yeah, like this is probably more accurate to how she looks in the game.
Like, if a woman that looks exactly like this, like, winked
Came
at
up to
a lot
them.
of these dudes or something like that,
Yes,
they would be changing their pants. I'm
absolutely.
pretty sure, pretty confident, because like,
Absolutely. And
she's
even
unique looking. She's not like traditional beauty standards like trad wife or whatever, but like, I'm into that kind of thing. That's me.
and she's also just very fit for Star Wars. This is a game that's set within the original trilogy, which is very like 80s themed. The hair, the jacket, the vibe of it. I don't know if you've watched the trailer, but like it's a pretty cool vibe, and like it's a unique character. She fits into Star Wars. I don't know what they want. It's not that like, oh, she looks too modern. No, she looks like she could be in Star Wars.
She looks like she's from the 80s. Or the late 70s, early 80s, like a lot of those original characters did in the original.
Exactly. It's also just annoying that this is what the conversation is about, because at the end of the day, it also doesn't fucking matter. Like so what if you had to play as a character who doesn't look great? Like, that's the case in many games. If you want to play as a character who you find sexy or hot that you can beat your meat to, there's plenty of games out there for you. Play fucking Cyberpunk. Play Baldur's Gate 3, whatever. There's many Western games that have sexy characters. Now, I also don't want this coming off as if I'm just telling you to go buy this game, or that this game is going to be great. There are many reasons for someone to be a little bit concerned about Star Wars Outlaws, being a little bit hesitant before buying. It is Ubisoft after all. Their AAA games aren't always polished and rich with quality content. There's also the whole debacle about the prices, which is fucking atrocious. Over $120 for like a premium version? That's insane. And locking content behind money and a battle pass on day one is absurd. And this is the stuff we should be focusing on when it comes to a game like Star Wars Outlaws, but when the whole fucking gaming community wants to talk about how the female protagonist looks and that she's too ugly or whatever, it brings the conversation away from what really matters and the things that are actually kinda scummy about this game, to rather focus on this arbitrary and vague culture war. And that's what this whole conversation does. It just takes away responsibility from the actual problems that
So
like
if
actually
they
focus
want
on
to
this.
play a character that they can bang and and stuff, is that so? What do they do whenever they're playing, like, I don't know, Kratos or like, is that apply to that too? Or
Yes.
so they want to be okay? Just making sure.
Yeah. Who wouldn't?
I
No,
mean,
but like,
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying not judging. I'm just saying that making sure that those guys realize that that's what they're implying by this. I don't know.
and that's the thing that really, I guess, it's just annoying about this whole conversation, because these standards are not there for male characters. If we take Spider-Man 2, for example, the newest game that came out, you've probably heard about like the whole MJ being ugly thing, right? Like they changed the act, or they changed the model, and they made her look ugly and stuff. They gave her a weird chin. There was outrage when they changed Peter Parker's model like a couple years ago, but not like this. It wasn't like, oh, they've made him ugly, this is a woke thing, this is a political move, they're just SJWs. It
Yeah.
wasn't like that. It was just like, oh, I liked the last one more. You
I
know, that
remember
was the
that.
one that I played as. That was the one that I got used to, and I really liked that version. It fit with the voice, in my opinion. I don't like this change. It had nothing to do with this whole, like, oh, the West is ruining beauty. None of that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how responsible this guy is or whatever, but I've been seeing a certain guy popping up a lot lately. Was it Mark Kern? Goes by
No.
Grums on.
Oh, yeah.
Like he apparently was like a designer or something for World of Warcraft pre Gamergate.
Yeah.
He was kind of like all wrapped up in all that stuff, and then like now he's kind of grifting on this stuff again. I don't know if I really don't know. I'm not the gamer of the bunch, so I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I definitely think he's grifting on it.
I've been seeing a lot on Twitter about him. Every post I see of him has something to do with this. Either
Yeah.
like sucking off Stellar Blade, or we're talking about how ugly some of these video game.
And look, I want
women
to suck
are.
off Stellar Blade too, from what I've seen.
Yeah, we should probably get to the video now, just to
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
to see what, because sometimes Critical Drinker can surprise you with some decent takes. So I'm not gonna completely write off this video, but I thought perhaps he would give us the closest thing to a nuanced take on this that this, more anti-woke bunch would. But let's see what he has to offer. Also, if you haven't already, go check out Actual Fandom, or Dane, over on his channel. Most of you probably know him if you know my content, but if you don't, go over in there, check it out. It's content that talks about a lot of what I also talk about and more. But yeah, so go and check his channel. It'll be first in the description. Also, leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. Check out my memberships. But yeah, let's get into the video.
One of the best things about video games is that they allow us to transcend the petty limitations of the real world, creating fantastical landscapes that defy logic, terrifying monsters, awe-inspiring wonders, and iconic characters bound only by the limitations of the human imagination. It truly is the very purest form of creativity, unless of course you happen to be a Western game developer.
I mean, okay, like I agree with him. Video games is like probably my number one hobby, and I love the escapism it gives me. I love just sitting down at the end of a day and just turning on my PlayStation and just like getting lost for a couple hours. But like he's been kind of showing, especially with some more modern games, like this is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
It was like 2019, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very modern. Fucking Life is Strange, a very modern series, also very like outwardly like left-leaning video game series. I mean, The Witcher 3, I guess, is from 2015, but it's also from the West.
I mean, it's technically modern. Like, I mean, what do they mean when they say that? That's kind of part of the thing, is like they use a lot of vague language, but like,
Yeah.
this sounds familiar, right? Like, it just seems familiar from the Drinker, where he's going to conflate. He's going to be real vague about what era he's talking about.
Yep.
He's going to say that this thing that is actually just a couple of years old is part of this old style of doing things. It's just not that way anymore. It's just, man, he's got a formula. I'm realizing.
Yeah, yeah.
Game developer, in which case your escapist fantasy entertainment absolutely has to reflect the world we live in today. The world we live in today. The world we live in today. We live in today.
Okay, so first of all, just showing a live clip of something happening in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth compared to screenshots where some of them are heavily edited, like this one of
Yeah, I'm
Aloy.
pretty sure that is not an actual.
I can confirm this is not what Aloy looks like in these games.
What a piece of shit!
What a fucking piece of shit. And this is not to say that there's anything wrong with this art style, right? Like this is very Final Fantasy art style, right? There's nothing wrong with it. There's also nothing wrong with having a character who looks like MJ. This is what a woman looks like who you can find. That's not a problem. This whole like, oh, we need to escape the real world, that doesn't mean that like characters can't still look more realistic. Sorry.
The MJ example, I've seen people talking about like how she's supposed to be a supermodel, and this is not a super. It's like, well, okay, like in the '90s, that's kind of what she was. Since then, she hasn't really been that. They've made her character not so fucking misogynistically written.
Yeah.
And she's more nuanced, and like this is a perfectly, I mean, I don't want to say average in a negative sense, but this is the average person, an average woman might look like this, in a good way, in like a, hey, she's pretty attractive, in real life. And Peter Parker is also the same way in this game.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like it makes it relatable. It makes it, he makes Peter Parker in his life more like, oh, everything is relatable about him except for this whole spider thing.
Exactly. And the thing, like Peter Parker in these games, he also just looks like a dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like some model, who sets unrealistic standards. Like the characters in these games just look more like New Yorkers, And that's the style they're going for. And that's perfectly fine. Just like how the style in Final Fantasy is also fine for the game that they want to make. There's no problem in this. And it's just really fucking disingenuous for him to take screenshots also like of Abby, who lives in a post-apocalyptic world with zombies. Why is she supposed to look beautiful?
Yeah, I don't know what that example is right there. That's kind of funny looking, to be honest.
This is from the new Fable game, and again, this is a screenshot. Like she doesn't. Yeah. It's not that she looks too much different than this, but like this is not how she looks like when the pictures are moving.
Right, that's the thing. It's you can get a fucking like, and they do this all the time. Chuds do with like they'll have like their thumbnail will have like I don't know, God, all of the Galadriel ones from Rings of Power, where she's like mid talking and mid blink, and like one eye closed, because everybody does that whenever you get a picture of them in the moment. And it's like
any person in the world, you can take fucking Ryan Gosling and take a screenshot of him in the wrong position and he'll look the same way. Like you can catch him in a bad position,
Yep.
It's and especially this one of Aloy from Horizon is just really fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
When you are a respected critic of media and you're trying to actually say something meaningful and you pull shit like this, it just,
I mean, I would say even if you're
with any sanity,
if you're not a respected, if you're just somebody with 5 subscribers, you should, if you're going to use this, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, if you want to make a joke about it or whatever, like, okay, I make jokes and shit, but I try to make my shit so obvious that you can't mistake it for, reality or whatever. And then like, it's literally got the state of play thing on there that makes it kind of seem a little bit more authentic. I'm sure that's on purpose.
I mean, that's just because the game or the original screenshot is from the state of play, because the original photo, like before it's been enhanced here, like it is a screenshot that people use a lot where she doesn't look great in it because it's a screenshot of where she's like looking into the camera in a weird angle.
Like everybody looks weird when they do look at that angle.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone looks like that.
Like, holy shit.
It's crazy. Like he's already just setting the premise in a bad way. Like he's not setting up a problem because there is no problem. He's just fabricating a problem here.
We live in today. You've probably noticed that there's been a bit of a shift in the portrayal of video game characters in recent years, particularly the female ones. A process that probably has a far more technical name, but which a simple man like myself can best describe as uglification. It's like gaming is somehow de-evolving even as technology and production costs rise to astronomical levels, producing characters that look less human and more physically repulsive with each.
repulsive.
Okay, saying that like The Last of Us 2 characters don't look realistic is incredible. Naughty Dog, you can dislike The Last of Us 2 all you want. Naughty Dog, when it comes to like animations and models and shit, and just like facial animations,
They're
they're
kind of unrivaled, right?
they're
Like,
kind of unrivaled. Like up there with like Rockstar and shit.
of course, he's saying this to a lot of people who probably don't actually go engage with the outside world very often. So they're like
Yeah.
they probably do imagine that the outside world is full of just like these beautiful people.
Mhm.
That everybody's just I don't know. I don't want to fucking throw everybody, all of his million subscribers under the bus or whatever. But
Of course not, no.
yeah, it's just hard to imagine that you would not realize that these are more. You're more likely to run into somebody that looks like one of the two people on screen right now, or somebody that looks like MJ in the other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Than you are somebody that looks like
Like Aerith from Final
uh,
Fantasy. It just
yeah, or Stellar Blade. You know?
or Stellar Blade, yeah. Even like people like that exist, right? Stellar
Sure.
Blade is based off of a real life model, but
They're
you're
on
more
Twitch and stuff like that. That's probably why a lot of these guys think that they're just like
exactly.
Twitch streamers.
But you're way more likely to meet someone who looks more like these characters do. And even then, these characters are in a post-apocalyptic world where survival is key. It doesn't matter about how you look. And this is a game that's trying to make the characters look more realistic.
Same people like fucking pronouns and the whole
Mhm.
immersion was the thing with him, right? Like that was what his complaint was like your current fucking day, blah blah. It's all disingenuous and stupid anyway. But like the idea that you want to be immersed in a game is a valid thing to want,
Mhm.
and and if that's what you're looking for, it's right here. It's right here. It's in a lot of these games now. And like
Yeah.
yeah.
To think that if video games beforehand, like in the early 2000s and like 90s and stuff, had the capabilities of video games today in terms of graphics, wouldn't also make or characters that look like this, at least in some of the games, is incredible. Because here's the thing, video games nowadays has a whole wide variety of ways different characters can look. Some video games have different art styles that look more maybe anime-ish, more cartoonish, or where they have a focus on it being sexy, compared
And
to other games who want to have the more realistic route, right? Or don't really care about making their characters look more traditionally attractive. And
another
that's fine. It's just different.
another commonality with this movie takes, right, is that
Hmm.
uh you have this broad range of styles of things going on, and he's zeroing in on a certain thing and pretending like that's all of it, all there is.
Hmm.
You remember he did that with the when we looked at his modern movies hate men video,
Yes.
and he was saying that that he's not saying that all men need to be all blah blah blah, just he wants a diverse range of characters, and it's like
Yes.
that's literally what there is, and
Yes.
I think you even said in that he kind of like debunks his own video in that moment, because it's like that, man, that's
Hmm.
what we have. We have some characters that are, super macho in the traditional sense or whatever, and then
Hmm.
like other characters are a little more nuanced and stuff, and it's like it almost leads one to believe that he's being dishonest.
Yeah. It's very easy to pretend that all movies and video games just like show one thing when that's all you show in your own video.
Right.
And just ignore all the other examples. That's just dishonest video making.
Ruined and terrible for life.
I mean, Jesus, look at the state of it. I don't think anyone wants to go on an adventure with this girl. A quick glance at your average
The fart joke.
AAA development page is like taking a walk down your average high street in Scotland. The faces you see vaguely correspond to your understanding of what human beings look like, but the features, proportions, and arrangements are so far off that you're left with a disturbingly intense urge to get out of there as quickly as possible and never look back.
Wait, I need to. Okay. Yeah.
Something
Three of these are
about
just
this
the same
kind of
person.
weird. Yeah, some of them are definitely the same. I mean, I know that actress, I forget her name. She's
Oh,
she's a
Wilson
comedian, been in
something, right?
comedy shows and stuff for years.
Yeah.
But she's in a lot of video game stuff now. For some reason,
Yeah.
a lot of people hired her. But like, there's something else that's notable about a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
Almost like more than half of them are not white.
Oh yeah. Like the large
Hmm.
majority of them are not white.
Weird.
And this one looks like a child.
Well, I mean, I
But
guess the child's not attractive enough for them. I don't know. So the one, okay, so like it's got that row of three there. That's obviously the same actor
mhm.
on the right. Then the one on the farthest right, and then even the one on the farthest left, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that even the one in the center is just like an awkward pause moment, right?
Yes.
But like that's just the way that woman looks. in the
Yeah.
far right and the far left images. That's how she's looked for a long time. That's just what her look is, and they clearly chose her for a specific reason because that's how she looks, and they wanted that.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucking bizarre, and honestly feels a little bit racism-y to just go, here's a
Definitely
black
does,
woman.
yeah.
This is an example of a hideous human being, or hideous character model.
Yeah. No, I mean, most of these are just screenshots in weird positions where anyone would look bad, I guess.
Yeah,
And then it's true. Like a lot of these are just how people look.
all women have to be super hot to them, or they're like, you're useless, they're bad, get them off of there.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
almost as if someone who claims that, oh, I like good stories and I like good characters and writing and all that, just doesn't care about that if the character isn't hot. That's kind of what he's saying with this video.
It's not like women characters were hotter in previous generations of console or whatever, right? Like they were less defined.
Yes.
And it's like, are you seriously going to tell me that they were hotter? It's just because you couldn't see as much of the actual detail, so like you could just fill it in your imagination and and pretend that they look super hot or whatever. Like
That's exactly it, right? It's like if older games had the technology we have today to make video games, more characters back then would have looked like characters now. There is variety, and that's a good thing. It's good that you can, if you want a different art style or if you want different ways that a character looks, you can play different games. It's not that difficult. If you want to play as a really hot character, buy Cyberpunk 2077 and make a character you think is attractive. It's very easy to do in that game.